Yo, we're back. This is a Starting Over podcast, part 2, talking about Wolverine and the X-Men. My previous guest, Josh, aka Mega Lotus Man, had to go because it is Saturday and it's our normal tournament day. I am not going because I have spent an exorbitant amount of money on trying to get a passport and several other things together. So, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back and I'm going to start talking about some figures that I think are a little bit significant, but I glossed over just because of time, because I knew that he had to head out to the tournament. So I'm going to back up just a tad. I'm going to talk about Bishop and why I'm a little bit frustrated with him and happy at the same time. I've been a Bishop fan since literally I was a little kid. Now, no, the Jerry curl, not so much a fan of that, but just the concept of a mutant that is able to absorb energy powers, get stronger, and then shoot them back out. So I always liked the idea of Bishop. You never saw a hero like that, or a superhero like that ever, until Bishop. So that's why I love him. What they did to him in the whole Generation Hope stuff, that just pissed me off really bad, because it when he first came out, literally Bishop was a product of guns and violence and big huge muscles and tiny ankle cells, and they developed him to be more than just the muscle head. And I remember the conversation that Storm had with Bishop after he came through the time slide, and the conversation was Storm was pretty much just telling Bishop, like, you have to be more than just some gun-toting renegade. You have to be a hero. You have to have something that's additional than you just trying to get your mission done. And if you don't do that, we're going to be after you. And we don't want that. We think that you can be something more than what you are now. And so when I look at Bishop and Clicks, I keep thinking, I'm like, man, he gets shafted so hard, so many times. Like his Mutants and Monsters one, it was a good overall, like, X-Men character, but it really wasn't Bishop. It was just like insert energy projectile character here. And I would still say that Bishop is one of my favorite Bishops. Even going back to Mutant Mayhem, I have L.E. Bishop. I don't have any of the other Bishops, which is sort of funny. But I have L.E. Bishop. And he was one of the first characters that I continually play on my teams because I like the character. So when I look at this Bishop, I like, yes, this is Bishop. And then when I look at him again, I'm like, but you suck in this meta. And if I could take this Bishop and put him back where Mutant Mayhem Bishop was, Mutants and Monsters Bishop was, I would be like, this is the best character in the game. But now, not so much. But let's go dig into it as I pick up my shovel. Time slide. Once per game, give Bishop a double power action to use phasing teleport. When you do, he can use probability control until your next turn. And after actions resolve, you may give him a close or range combat attack as a free action, which is awesome because he has sharpshooter. So if you don't want to use that range combat expert, you need to get that guy in stealth, you can pop up next to him. He is Big Barda, sort of ish. Okay. You can also choose to take that pushing damage, and I don't know why, so that you can get to running shot, but to me it seems sort of dumb. Now, I don't like the fact that time slide is once per game, but it is comic accurate. The range combat expert on the top of the dial allows Bishop to do 5 damage. and I really can't complain. Or he can, boost his attack up to a 13, which again, I can't complain. If you combine him with a couple of other elements, he could get sort of ridiculous on you really quick on his opening salvo. But his 6 range sort of reigns. His 6 range reigns in a lot of shenanigans. Next up is where I think they made Bishop, and this is where I have to give WizKids a pat on the back of you got it. Energy redirection. Bishop can use energy explosion. If Bishop healed from his energy absorption power since your last turn, he can use triple target, 3 lightning bolts, and modify his combat values by +1. You heal, which is a bonus, and there's a possibility if you were able to heal 2 to get back to your top click. Okay. Use energy absorption. You have +1 stats, so on your top click you would be capped damage and a 12 attack, and being able and an 18 defense, and to be able to do that is awesome. It's really awesome. I could say Gizmo, blah blah blah, whatever. Forget that. He would have a 7 range, which would be even more useful, and it would surprise everyone, because they would say like, "Oh, he shouldn't be able to shoot me from here," and if he gets that absorption off, it's great. So I love the fact that energy redirection is based off of absorption, and I also love the fact that it's a defensive power. That energy absorption is a defensive power, because that's what it is. Energy absorption. When Bishop would take damage from an opponent's ranged combat attack, roll a d6 instead. If the result is 1 through 3, he takes 1 damage. If it's 4 through 5, he heals 1 damage. If it is 6, he heals 2 damage. So yeah, you have the 1 in 6 chance to heal 2 damage. You have a 50-50 chance to heal, and you have a 50-50 chance to take 1 damage. I like that, and it forces people to say, I have to pack pulse wave. Like you can do a lot of damage to me, but if you don't one-shot me, I'm going to just say I'm going to take 1 damage, and I can just keep going with that. Where it's frustrating is he can still be one-shotted by Ghost Rider with a heavy. So I almost wish for if I had to pay 10 more points just to get 1 more click, just 1 more click, so I know I can't get one-shotted by Ghost Rider. But I mean, other than that, I gotta say I really love the Bishop, but I'm frustrated at his point cost, and I'm frustrated at his at just a bunch of different things. But I gotta say, they nailed Bishop. I can't say that they didn't do him justice. Just I feel that he's not meta worthy. I feel that like on an X-Men team he's going to be a great addition, but I just don't think he's meta worthy. Now, with that said, him on a team base is ridiculously dumb. Ridiculously dumb. Now here's why. Once he gets on that team base, doesn't matter what level he pops off except for the vet, because the vet level, I would say, like, keep Bishop on until you really, really need to, is if your opponent is very unlucky and you keep rolling those healing on energy absorption, you can get to top dial. And I don't think a lot of people really know about that rule, is that if a character does not have multiple starting lines, it only has one starting line, then you go with whatever its base cost is. Once you look at its base cost, then from there you have to say, all right, even though the character comes off on this click, it can be healed up to the beginning of the dial. So, yeah, so when I look at that Bishop, I'm saying to myself, oh man, I get a medic on you, and I can just get you up to click 3, my opponents will have so much of a problem dealing with you. Or even just saying, hey, I go and look at click 5 and he pops off on click 5. I have running shot, psychic blast, energy absorption, 3 damage, and prob. Like, that's a lot of good stuff. So, really good figure. Just not meta strong on his own on a team base. He has a lot of potential. The Magnetos, since we have time now, magnetic force barrier on the first Magneto. Really, between the two Magnetos, I would say 65 point Magneto is your friend. The Prime is I hate to say it, a shadow of his GSX self. This isn't GSX I kill you Magneto. This is Magneto. And I know that seems dumb, but it's very frustrating. And not only that, he has keywords to me that don't make quite sense if he's the Age of X Magneto. But going on, back to the actual good Magneto. Let's look at him really quickly. The 65 points, 9 range, which is pretty rare nowadays with the 9 range. The ability to have flight. He has Force Blast. He may use it as a free action to target an opposing character within 4 squares in line of fire. So they don't even have to be adjacent to you, and you can just get a free Force Blast. Okay, and Force Blast on top of your other attacks. So it goes like this. Magneto sees a character, or let me say this. Magneto is basically a character that does not have charge, or any ability to ignore knockback. He wants to make a ranged combat attack on, let's say, Iron Man, to get him away from Scarlet Witch. So he Force Blasts the character next to him as a free action, shoots Iron Man, and knocks him back. So technically, off of those 2 shots, off of this 1 power, he has moved 2 figures functionally to his advantage. So that's why I would say, like, he is awesome. 65 points also allows you to get TK and Barrier, which does put him in this weird world, because as Megalosman was talking about, like, alright, if you're a support figure, you need to be able to do 2 things. And the 2 things that he does very well is Barrier and TK. He can also attack with decent stats on his top click. So I would say he can be meta sorta. I think there's just the issue of the team of what he's getting built around. Next up is his trait Magnetic Force Barrier. Opposing characters within range modify their range and speed values by -1 for each action token assigned to Magneto. Now it does say range, it doesn't say line of fire. So he has the ability to really just jack with people the entire game and just be like, hey, guess what, man? You got a -1 attack. So that's a pretty cool thing. Let's see. The Capture Cape Citadel missiles. I think that this is like more from the movie than anything else, from the First Class movie. But anyway, if Magneto occupies an opposing starting area, give him a power action and choose a square on the map. For each character occupying that square or an adjacent square, roll a d6 that can't be re-rolled. On a result of 4 through 6, deal that character 3 damage. So it's not even an attack. But the thing is, you still have to roll a 4 through 6. So you have a 50-50 chance of that happening. So, oh well. When we look at the Prime Magneto, I just get frustrated. Yes, he has, carry the remains of the mutant race. Magneto can carry up to 6 characters. Adjacent characters that share a keyword with Magneto can use the X-Men team ability. Which means that functionally, he can keep himself healed up. Okay, and he can also keep his crew healed up. But it's a bit expensive. Fortress X. Magneto can use barrier. Defend. And invulnerability. Okay, we're getting somewhere. When he uses barrier, he may place up to 8 blocking terrain markers, and friendly characters adjacent to any of these blocking terrain markers can use toughness. This power can't be countered by characters 150 points or less. So that means like little Joe Schmoes aren't taking away your powers, but still at the same time, it's a little bit suck. Okay. Then you have look down upon the human rabble. If Magneto occupies the highest elevation on the map, modify his attack and damage values by +1 when targeting a character on a lower elevation. It can be awesome if it wasn't for the fact that his damage values are not his peak when he gets it. Now note, the 90-point value Magneto, he really does benefit from it because you can start using your perplexes on your attack values, which is what you need. So overall, I think it's something that leaves a lot to be desired, in my opinion. So, oh well. Next up is Legion. Hidden personalities. Give Legion a free action and choose a standard power, then roll a d6 that can't be re-rolled. He acquires a personality quirk from the table below and uses that in the standard power until your next turn. Cowardly. Legion modifies his attack value by -2. Confused. Legion modifies his speed and defense values by -1. Grounded. Legion can use Earthbound Neutralized, which is dumb. It's really dumb. So far, we have gone halfway through this, and all of our powers are just sort of screwing us over. 4. Enraged. Legion can use Battle Fury. Hope you didn't pick Psychic Blast, or on Psychic Blast, or Precision Strike, because, buddy, you just got hosed. Compassionate. Immediately heal all adjacent characters, and that includes your opponent. 6. Savant. Legion modifies his combat values by +1. Choose another standard power, and he can also use that power. So pretty much his trait, 5 times out of 6 can screw you over. That's dumb. Okay. I mean, really. If you think about it, 5 times out of 6, you will get hosed by this guy. So anyway, in game, the counter. Legion can use Mystic Steam ability, and that's his special power. And at that stage, if he gets hit anyway, it's dumb. He's not lasting at all. Overall, I think he could have been more powerful than what he is, but they really just give you no incentive to use his trait, which really just inflates his points. And I don't think there's like, hey man, we take some points off because of the penalties, man. Yeah, I don't think they do that. The other thing I would say is if you're just going to pick any standard power, I would be picking like Perplex, Outwit, Prob, because there is no reason for you to pick anything that's offensive in nature or barrier, smoke cloud, stuff like that. I mean, but at 119 points, you are way overpaying for that stuff. Way overpaying. So anyway, I'm gonna bring this one up, and I'm actually just gonna laugh at it, in part because I think this says a lot about our culture. Is Big Bertha. Big Bertha is 56 points. She has the ability called Bear Hug. Big Bertha can use Charge and Plasticity. Then extra layers of fat. When Big Bertha is dealt damage, roll a d6. On a result of 1 through 4, she ignores all but 1 of the damage. On a 5 through 6, she ignores all of the damage. Now, you might be saying, what's amusing? I find it amusing that you don't see a lot of characters that are overweight female characters, mainly because our comic book genres are about skinny, big busty women And with men, it is variable body types, even though most of them are muscular. And I think that when we deal with, just body insecurity issues, Big Bertha brings it all up and says, hey, I'm in this book. If you read this book, then you have to deal with how you feel about body insecurities. And even more so, I think some of the Great Lakes Avengers fans fandom towards Squirrel Girl is that she is a little bit more sexualized than Big Barda, and in comparison, she draws more attention, even though when you look at her attractive scale to other characters in the Marvel Universe, she's not that more attractive. She's really less attractive than most other characters in the Marvel Universe that are female. And so it's sort of interesting, some dynamics that come up. I know with the online dating profiles, it became interesting because someone said in like some advice blog, never take pictures with a person of the same sex in your picture that you put on your profile, because what will happen is that person will automatically compare you to the people around you, even if they're family members or your friends or whatever else. So I just sort of look at Big Bertha as a commentary about our state of view of body image. So anyway, as a clique, she's all right. We talked about Hope Summers and how broke she is. Phantom X, great to have you back, buddy. You still aren't too awesome. Silver Samurai is nothing to write home about. Let's go into Phoenix. I think Phoenix is the beginning of welcome to This Is Okayville. And I think that they've done something in this set that I feel is good, considering how GSX was just filled with so many powerful super rares. Is they toned them all down. And I appreciate that. Now, at the other end, what they did is they said, hey, guess what, buddy? Need to fill out that team base? Yeah, you gotta get them. So that's where I'm sort of pissed off at them at. But let's look at Phoenix. Phoenix has psionic purging. Phoenix can use outwit and shape change. Oh, and I just dropped like a ton of heroclix. Outwit and shape change. She can use outwit normally, or she may choose a power and counter that power on all opposing characters within range and line of fire. So, having a problem with people with probability control, take that away. Having problems with that exploit weakness, take that away on the whole team. Her having shape change on top of impervious gives her a extra level of defense, and gives her something nice against Psychic Blast. I do think, though, that her upfront dial is good, and then when you put her with Phoenix Force people, she offers something. And even with Starjammer, she offers something. With X-Men and Excalibur, I think she's way too expensive for what she does. Now, the one thing I will say is this, is she is very stable. Like, her attack values only spike up. They never go down. They only really just spike up on clicks 2 and 3. Her defense values are very stable. Her damage values really only tank on her last click. So the entire time you always can do 3 or 4 damage. So I know this is bad for me to say it. I don't think she's the best at what she does. But I do think if you want to look at her on an Excalibur team, bam, good. A Phoenix Force team, bam, good. X-Men, not so much. Future, not so much. Now, okay. And coming back, if I look at her in concept of a team base, I would say, yeah, that's strong. That's real strong. Considering on a veteran level Excalibur that she could come out and be like, hello everyone, Psychic Blast and Outwit. Bam! You know, her first turn. doing 4 damage on a already crippled or beat up target. She is a cleaner. Okay, she finishes everything up at the end and makes sure it's nice and rosy, sets the flowers, dusts the table, and then says, hey, come on in. The previous inhabitants are gone. Oh, sorry. There was a little bit of blood stain left there. I just cleaned that up right there. So, yeah, she's a cleaner. Even, I would say on her experience level that she would come out with, you would get prob and rookie. Yeah, rookie and experience, you would come out, you would get prob. So there's really no downside to her on a team base. Warlock. Oh gosh, I just want to smack them. I want to smack WizKids for this one, but I'm not even going to talk about Warlock. Jubilee, adopted duo. When Jubilee is adjacent to a character named Wolverine, they both modify their attack values by +1, if not already modified by this effect, which is sort of nice. But considering Wolverine's perpetuity to mentor little girls, teenage girls, I think it's sort of weird. I think Shadowcat should have had something like that too. Anyway, next up is her fireworks show. Jubilee can use energy explosion when she does, in addition to its normal effects. Each hit character must either be given an action token or modify their attack value by -2 until the end of the turn. So I think that's sort of cool, that you can technically sort of blind your opponent. It's just the issue of her getting into position. Add in your perplex that you have on Jubilee. I think that's pretty good because you have a higher chance of getting that shot off. So I thought that was really cool. Vampire Jubilee, yeah, that's just going to be broken, and I don't even need to elaborate on that. 33 points of ridiculousness. So skip Warstar. That's dumb. He's not that good. Well, yeah, okay. Here's my commentary on Warstar. Warstar has Pulse Wave, but Warstar has Battle Fury. Okay? That's dumb. Okay? Here's the thing. It says Telepathic Link. Warstar begins the game with B-Knee attached. When B-Knee is attached, Warstar's powers can't be countered, and he doesn't possess Battle Fury. Okay, so B-Knee is sort of okay because B-Knee has Pulse Wave and 8 range and 1 damage and 10 attack. So you could say, well, I can still get my Pulse Wave off. But the fact that Warstar has a consistent 4 damage this entire dial, you pop him off the team base and it's like, hey man, I got B-Knee with me. Pulse Wave. Oh shoot, the team base is still here. Okay, they moved. Pulse Wave. Like that's all that he's really good for. That's it. I mean, and you can say like, oh, he can charge in and pick up a heavy and do this and that. Okay, cool, whatever. On his other point dials, fine. I will concede that point. But overall, I don't think he's worth 177 points on his own. On a team base, I think he's a little bit questionable. Moving on to Black Queen. Black Queen is again more vampire stuff, and I'm almost tempted to say, you know what? She is better off not being a high-end vampire than a vampire. And I know that sounds dumb, but at the top of her dial with 12 attacks, Psychic Blast, Probability Control, and all that lovely goodness, and I know you're like, how are you hating so much, Dark Logos, on that? I would rather have her with Psychic Vampire and spend my life energy. Now, let's back up a bit. If I play her on the Hellfire Club, completely different story. She's good the entire dial, including her vampire dial, because I can heal her all the way to the top dial if I play her correctly. Okay, and she has a decent range, and she can pop off at convenient places. Stealth and mind control only helps me. Okay, um, and also after action resolve, heal her once, so she never really takes feedback damage, and she could possibly get stronger after she uses her mind control. And she may use this to heal past her starting line. Yeah, so there there is nothing in her dial, in her kit, that I'm like, oh, this is bad. This is completely horrible. But I like the mind control and TK and other options that are possible at her lower point value. Let me phrase that, at her I'm a super vampire goddess level. The spend my life energy, I think, is awesome. It's very creative. Give Black Queen a free action until your next turn. All her combat values are +1. Or choose a combat value by +2 at the end of your turn. Deal her 1 unavoidable damage. Well, guess what? You deal her 1 unavoidable damage. If you combine that with Psychic Vampire, or even the fact that you use Vampiric Drain, if I hit, I take no damage. There we go. Oh, can I do it again next turn? Yes, you can. So there's no downside to all of her other stuff, and just the pure fact of, spend my life energy. I get +2 to a stat. Let's see. I think that's going to be attack. Anyway, I mean, even if you said modify all her combat stats by 1, really, I'm going to get a 19 defense and then take damage and then go to an 18 defense. It's not worth it. Okay, anyway, moving on. Mojo is just sort of silly fun. He's not serious. And he's way too expensive, just like old Mojo. But I do like this. Smile, you're on camera. Other characters with the celebrity keyword modify their attack values by +1. Opposing characters that aren't within Mojo's range and line of fire modify their attack values by -1. Now, note, there's some cool things to be fully aware about this with Mojo. Okay, first off, you can surround him with barrier and then give all opposing characters -1. All opposing characters -1. Okay, next, you can put him in a corner somewhere and all opposing characters will have -1 attack. Not only that, it doesn't matter where you're at on the map, all your celebrities have +1 attack. Okay? And so, when you combine that with X-Babies, when your opposing character targets Mojo with an attack and misses, modify that character's damage value by -2 damage values by -2 until after they next hit an opposing character with an attack. So, if they fail to hit Mojo, they not only have -1 attack, they now have -2 damage. Overall, this can be silly. But again, he's way too expensive. But like I said, this can be silly. And anyway, I think it's maybe something that in the future you may want to combine with a master. I keep saying master mole man, so that you can just move him around and do silly stuff with him. So, all right, moving on. X-Man, my dog. X-Man, 287 points and 175, 8 range, 2 targets, hypersonic speed, invincible, probability control. It's a nice start, not the best start. His I don't really belong in this world. X-Man is a wild card. He may be given a free action to copy the team ability of an opposing character instead of a friendly character, which can be awesome or suck depending on the team abilities that your opponent has. TK Prodigy. X-Men can use telekinesis. with all instances of 8 squares replaced by 12 squares. When he uses it to place an opposing character in hits, you may place the character adjacent to blocking terrain, including walls. Deal that character 2 penetrating damage after actions resolve. Now, full dial TK. 12 range TK. And you're like, you're still saying to yourself, Dark Logos, he's gone hyper time on that stuff, man. He's not seeing things clearly. How can this still not be the bestest character that we can have or try to pull in a seal? Yes, 12 range TK is great, but in a world where Spiral can bring your whole team across the map, it's a whole different thing. Now, the penetrating damage after the TK, now, I want to find out, I need to find out you can't TK multi-base figures, even if they're opponents, so, where I think the issue comes in is that if you really want to TK an object, like a heavy, then that can be an advantage. But I don't think, with his damage numbers, like the lowest being a 4, I don't think that's the best thing to be wasting your damage in your attacks on TK. Anyway, Telekinetic Fury. At the beginning of your turn, give X-Men a free action, and all opposing characters within range are knocked back 1 square. Now, this can be cool, but again, if they have charge or anything like that, it's not going to help you. But it's an okay way to sort of say, we wanted to give, if we gave him Sharpshooter, that would be OP. Psionic Shields. X-Men can use Barrier, Energy, Shield Deflection. When this power is revealed after action resolve, X-Men may immediately use Barrier as a free action. I sort of like that, but it shows up once, and it shows up once, and I think the way it's worded, it's not a stop click, because you can go past it, but I don't know if you would still be able to. I don't know. I'll have to see. The fact that he has support on those clicks is pretty good. For 2 clicks, I like that. Overall, I would say X-Man is a fun character. I'm going to get him when I get some more money. But I will also say, overall, he's nothing to really, for a lack of a better word, write home about. So, all right, moving on. Now I'm going to talk about Leandra just for the fact that we've talked about Shi'ar Imperial Guard so much. Defend me. This is our trait. Defend me, Shi'ar warriors. Other friendly characters with the Shi'ar keyword and within 8 squares modify their attack values by +1. Other friendly characters with the Imperial Guard keyword and within 8 squares modify their damage values by +1. Now, what I'm hoping that this can stack with the Imperial Guard so that they can get +1 attack and +1 damage. If so, 200 point 200 point Imperial Guard just got really OP. Like really OP. Oh gosh, so OP. Oh gosh. Yeah, so OP because you could give hold up, wait. No, you couldn't. I was going to say you could give him Lilandra a partial utility belt, but I don't think you have the points for that. So yeah, really strong. Help me, Charles Xavier, with my psychic powers. Give Lilandra a free action and choose a friendly character not within 6 squares. That character can use sidestep this turn. If that character has a Shi'ar or X-Men keyword, you may give Lilandra a power action instead, and then place that character adjacent to her. Why is this dumb? Powerful. Hello, I have the oh gosh, the phone is distracting me. Hey, look, I have the bat signal built into me. Yeah, if that, yeah, because it says if that character has the Shi'ar or X-Men keyword, you may give Lilandra a power action instead, and then place that character adjacent to her. So yeah, it's it's got a, I think it's got even a shorter range than, yeah, it's got a shorter range than the bat signal. So yeah, so pretty much what will end up happening is the Shi'ar the Shi'ar Imperial Guard will use their little spaceship, plop down on the other end of the map, flurry, and then Lilandra just pulls them back and be like, "Gotcha," and and pretty much they would have what? Oh, but they have to be within 8 squares to get the +1 attack and +1 damage. But even still, it's even without the +1 attack and +1 damage, just for the pure fact that they could pop in, hit somebody, and be like, "We're out, peace." You know, I think that's sort of silly. But Lilandra, I'm not going to say this is a must-have. It's only really if you're going to play that Shi'ar Royal Guard. Going on, Professor X and Magneto, not even worth looking at. I hate to tell you. And then someone's going to be like, "But Dark Logos, you can use running shot and mind control. Dark Logos, you can merge your X-Men and Brotherhood of Mutants teams." And it's like, oh, I don't care. I can do that with freaking Sinister. I can do it with Sinister. So, and Sinister does a lot more for your team, I feel. But, oh well. Oh, let's move on. M is just another brick. Mikhail Rasputin, I think he's the funnest and the most weirdest character from the entire set. Okay, and this is why. Okay, Dimensional Portals. Give Mikhail a free action and roll a d6. Replace his speed value with the result plus his printed speed value. Okay, if the result is 5 through 6, he can use improved movement. Ignores elevation terrain, ignores hindering terrain, ignores blocking terrain this turn. Okay, now, why is this great? He has a 10 moves starting off. So if you add in, 3 or 4 more move on top of all that, it becomes really good. It allows him to just like really get in there. Also combine that with running shot and psychic blast, it gets really even more interesting. Then after he takes some damage, he gets reality twist. Mikhail Rasputin can use pulse wave. When he does, after action resolve for each hit opposing character, he may place a hindering terrain marker in that square, or he may place a blocking terrain marker adjacent to that character. So pretty much you could just say, "Oh, I hit you, and you would hit me back, but you don't have move and attack. Blocking terrain, blocking terrain, blocking terrain. Bum, bum, bum." Or if someone just surrounds you, you could just be like, "Pulse wave. Blocking myself off." Anyway, if they're placed properly, mind you. Madness of a far-flung world. If this power is showing after an action resolves in which Mikhail Rasputin took damage from an opposing attack, roll a d6. On results of 1, deal 1 unavoidable damage to a friendly character. On a result of 5 through 6, deal 1 unavoidable damage to an opposing character. I like this. It sort of sucks that it only shows up after you've taken damage, but oh well. Anyway, but overall, I think he's fun. Just for the pure fact that he can get crazy far. Like if it wasn't for Spiral, I would say that he was the beginning of a counter team-based meta, because the whole idea of a team-based running from you would not be possible with his range. And it's just like, give him a utility belt, give him some way to bust stealth, and bam, he is the new one-man army. That Ghost Rider can't take him down in one hit. It's just so much that I would say is just beautiful about the dial, but I can't because freaking Spiral ruins everything. Now, some of you are saying, but Dark Logos, we can just do Spiral and Mikhail Rasputin. Yes, we can. But it sort of defeats the purpose of you spending all those points in movement. But I understand that is possible. I just don't think that. I don't think that Mikhail Rasputin, with the stats that he has, even with the Spiral for Prob, if that was possible to bring Spiral through with whatever little points you had left, could do what's need to be done in the meta to actually win against the Justice League or Shi'ar Imperial Guard or anything like that. So, oh well. Moving on, Exodus, just really quickly. TK Levitation. When other friendly characters within line of fire are given a move action, they can use the flight ability, which is okay, but it's sort of... Anyway. Psychic Domination. Exodus can use Penetrating Psychic Blast and Telekinesis. If he hits an opposing character with one of them, he may use the other as a free action after actions resolve. So you have to do one and then the other. Which I think it really what it comes down to is you're going to use Psychic Blast, hit somebody, and then move a character with TK that's on your team. So that's all that's really going to happen. Yeah, because if you look at the second part of the Psychic Domination, it says if he hits an opposing character with one of them, he may use the other as a free action. So there's no requirement that the TK has to be an attack. So anyway, Crushing Force Fields. Exodus can use Energy Shield Deflection and Toughness. When an adjacent opposing character hits Exodus with an attack, deal that character one unavoidable damage after actions resolve. That's not too bad. Magneto's Alkalite. Exodus can use Leadership. Friendly characters named Magneto can use Leadership. That's sort of weird. Oh well. It just allows you to get more and more leaderships on your turn. Overall, I would say for your Brotherhood of Evil Mutants team, you might, if you're serious about playing that, you might really want to consider breaking out Exodus as like your canon. But if you already have like the old GSX Magneto, just keep him. Just don't even think about Exodus. Play GSX Magneto. Now, if it's like a really high point game, then yeah, you're going to need Exodus. All right, looking at the chases real quick, or more in depth. Cyclops, I gotta say, I think he is a good, solid figure. I just think that him starting off saying, whatever you do damage wise, I'm going to take half of it, and it's going to be whatever the higher amount is good for him in the sense of, if they gun for Cyclops first, which I can fully understand, he can stay in the fight. Unfortunately, it's always going to knock you past that hypersonic speed on click 2, which is so beautiful. But the 12 attack, running shot, 9 range with 12 movement is going to give you a 15 swing, which is almost a full map. Because usually the swing difference between starting area to starting area on a standard elongated, two square deep starting area map is, I think an average map is like 24 squares, so minus 4, so 20. So that's a pretty good range. That from his starting area he can just pop out and be like, gotcha. Phoenix 5. Pretty much when they die, they get the stat modified, so it's like, okay, whatever. We're beloved, they're mistrusted. Adjacent friendly characters with the X-Men keyword modify their attack values by +1. Opposing characters with the Avengers keyword modify their attack values by -1. Now, when you start stacking this with like Mojo and a whole bunch of other things, this, I hate to say it, you could really just start screwing over people. Just so bad with all these, hey, guess what, man? You got -1. Oh, and this other guy, he gives you a -1. And I have another guy, he gives you a -1. So you have -3. So when it comes to Cyclops, if you're playing an X-Men team, I would say by far he's somebody that you want to pick up chase-wise or want to pull chase-wise. If you're not playing X-Men or Phoenix Force that often, then it's just like, yeah, you can pass. There's nothing special to see here. And you're going to be like, well, wait, Phoenix Force Blast. When Cyclops targets a character with ranged combat attack, the area of effect includes all opposing characters within 2 squares of the target. You may divide Cyclops damage among all hit targets, and you may knock back any hit targets 2 squares. It just pretty much says, hey, guess what? You can range ghetto pulse wave people, and I think that's okay. That's really what it is. Going on Namor, I think Namor is the one that you really, really, really want to have. Really. Like, he is worth his full $295. And Siege Courageous once per game. Double power action, place him in any friendly square. Or any other friendly character. Sorry. Place him in any other friendly characters with the Phoenix Force keyword anywhere on the map, then end your turn. Which is sort of cool. Because he can bring Colossus and himself down on somebody, and their next turn is pretty much GG. Or run away, and there's literally nothing that you can do. Firewater. Namor deals penetrating damage to characters occupying water terrain that can't use either flight or swim ability. That's sort of nice. Drown Wakanda. All squares at Namor's level of elevation or lower in rows from the edge of the map that your starting area is closest to through the row Namor occupies are water terrain in addition to any other terrain. Now, some of you might be thinking, Dark Logos, this is the most stupidest power ever. Why would I want all this water terrain? And I'm going to tell you one word. Nurkod. Right there. That's why. Nurkod now has a 10 range and running shot and 4 damage and pulse wave. And I mean, really, for you to for us to really be honest about it, to have a scarce resource such as water to be able to just poof magically deliciously appear, and how many characters have special things that's just like, oh, when I have water, I can actually be a real heroclix. And then how many times have you had to say to yourself, but man, I don't want to kill my Aquaman. Oh man, I don't want to have to be forced to play this bucket of water. Oh man, I really don't want to be forced to play a Tuma, sir. And it's like, damn, get this Namor, play him at 295 and shut people down. Bring your Atlantis teams. Bring them from the depths of the sea so that they may rain ungodly water powers on people. Must get. Also, he's Minions of Doom and Power Cosmic, so he can take another team ability. It is beautiful. It is beautiful, sir. Can't say it enough. Alright. Moving on to Colossus. Siege Courageous, Phoenix 5, blah, blah, blah. Shed the mantle of Juggernaut. Colossus can use charge, running shot, and improved movement. Ignores and destroys blocking terrain. Whatever. He's pretty much the same as the Colossus from Fear itself. Phoenix effect. When Colossus hits a character with a close combat attack and that character isn't knocked back, after action resolve, deal 1 penetrating damage to that character and each other character along that direct line of fire. So I guess it would be up to his 9 range. So if you had a bunch of characters lined up in a row, he could deal 1 penetrating to a bunch of them. But it has to be on a direct line of fire. So that's not bad. Am I going to say that he is the most strongest, brokenest of the chases? No, freaking Namor is. Namor is the hero of this story right there. I'll take that back. Namor is a game changer. He is a game changer. All right, going on. At his stats, just looking at his stats and what he does, he is okay. He's just deep. He just takes a lot of damage. Now, him getting support at the end, I think that that's a good rally point, and I actually think that's one of the main reasons you'll play him at 150. You have no incentive to really play him at 295. He doesn't do anything better than anybody else. Next up is Emma Frost. Emma Frost has Power Cosmic, X-Men Team Ability, and Triple Target. That is awesome. You know what Triple Targets mean? Her and Gizmo is going to be really good friends. With that energy explosion. Hypersonic Speed. She gets Bow Before Me. Emma Frost can use Mind Control. When she does, after actions resolve, each hit target must choose. Deal the hit target one unavoidable damage, or heal Emma Frost of 1 damage. Now, where I don't like this is this is on her starting click. So you're technically overpaid already. You need that everywhere else. Like, I would have liked it if they took it off her starting click and then put it on, let's see, 4, 5, 6. Put it on click 6 or 7. So that way you have a little bit of a rally so you can get back onto your invincibility click. So, but oh well, hold on, wait, it is on her invincibility click. Sorry. Take that back. I was looking at the wrong thing. Telekinesis Unleashed, that's on her starting clicks. I apologize, people. Emma Frost can use telekinesis. She can use it normally or as a free action. Yay! If she uses it normally to target an opposing character in hits after action resolve, deal the character 3 damage. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know about that. Overall, I gotta say, her at 150 is an excellent buy. Her at 295 is up to your personal discretion. That's the best way I can put it. Next up is Magic. Magic. Pretty much she has some awesome stats and abilities. First off, she has Mystics. She has Power Cosmic. She has 2 targets, 9 attack. She has Running Shot and Energy Explosion. This is awesome. Her defensive power, Limbo on Earth. Magic can use Barrier and Invulnerability. She can use Barrier as a free action, but when she does, she may place only 2 squares of blocking terrain. And that's sort of nice, so she can shoot and then sort of defend herself. The Hellworms will eat well tonight. Magic can use probability control. Yay! When Magic attacks an opposing character, the area of effect includes all untargeted opposing characters within range and adjacent to a square of blocking terrain. Deal 1 penetrating damage to hit untargeted characters. What this means is that her energy explosion is penetrating. That's all it is. It's just saying, hey, she's going to use energy explosion. Are you hiding behind this character? Guess what? You're going to deal 1 penetrating damage to all characters. And then we're going to energy explode you for 2. So, yeah. So, I mean, pretty much just guarantees to say, hey, she's going to be doing 1 penetrating to everybody around her target character. So, I mean, overall, I think that is she a game changer? Not really. Her at 150 is very cool. And I think that can turn into a very strong 150-point character. Her having support on clicks 2 and 3 is also nice. That pulse wave is wonderful. Plasticity makes no dang sense at all with that dial. They should have. I wish there was something equivalent to the Fashion Police for dials. Like there should be a show on Bravo that just like dial police, and then these people should walk in and they should say, "Don't you know that plasticity with a crappy defense power like invincible is not a good combination?" Snip snap, like pulse wave and support, and a combination like that is not necessarily the best option. Range combat expert in poison is counterproductive. Like somebody should just go in to WizKids and just bust down the door and be like, "No, you're not making that. I'm from the future." Okay, anyway, 150 can be interesting, but I don't think it's going to be the best overall thing. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Because I love y'all and I know how this goes. What we're going to do is I'm going to take a break and we're going to wrap everything up in the next episode. So, part 1 was before this. And if you didn't watch that, go watch that. Part 3 is after this. So please listen to that. I'm hoping it's not an hour, but no promises. I am recording this through Gen Con, and I have my phone blown up with information. So what may also happen, peoples, is that there may also be a Gen Con show a little bit in part 3, maybe, or I may have to put it into its own little show or something like that. So that's it. Check you later. Hit me up on Twitter, subscribe, all that other good jazz at StartOverPod. Blog, startingoverpodcast.blogspot.com. We do have a donate button now if you feel like donating to me and contributing. If anything, if I find out you contributed to me, I'll give you a shout out in some form or fashion on the blog, on Twitter, on the show, whatever. All right, that's it. I will see you in part 3.
I'm into comic books, figures on the wall. She's into looking good, Vicky C's got along. And she loves my flaws, yeah, she's not ashamed. I'm a Peter Parker, she's my Mary Jane. She's my Mary Jane, she's my Mary Jane. She's my Mary Jane, she's my Mary Jane. She's my Mary Jane, she's my Mary Jane. I'm a Peter Parker, she's my Mary Jane. I'm a big nerd around her, but she's cool around me. Never knew how she found me. Electric, but she grounds me. And she loves my flaws, she accepts them all. When the darkness comes, I will get the call. I will swing down to save her.